Jnana Vivarakya Jnanandana Lakya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In the Radha Ganudesh Deepika, the Radha Krishna Ganudesh Deepika, Srila Rupa Goswami gives a description of Radha and Krishna and all the various Sakis and also their pets, Krishna's pets and Radharani's pets and their ornaments and many things directly related to their personal appearance. So the Radha Krishna Ganudesh Deepika is a significant book, an authorized book, and there it says that Lalita Devi is 28 days older than Srimati Radharani. So how we are celebrating Lalita's birthday 2 days before the one of Radharani, I don't know, but such things are just details. They're details. One thing is for sure, Lalita is older than Srimati Radharani. Oh yes. And that counts. And you may say 2 days, whatever it is, whether it's 1 year and 2 days, but certainly she is older. So Lalita, she is an authority. She's an authority. It is described that the gopis are divided up in various groups. We recall the appearance of Srimati Radharani described in the Garga Samhita. There it is said that the Vindhya mountains, which are the mountains which divide central India. There's a mountain range called the Vindhya Mountains, and the Vindhya Mountains, they performed austerity to have a daughter, and they had 2 daughters, namely Radharani and Chandravani. Somehow or other, Putana was around at that time, and Putana stole the children. And then it is said that Putana, however, when the Vindhya mountains saw Putana flying away with the children in the sky, they immediately engaged some brahmanas. And these brahmanas were chanting mantras to counteract the demoniac influence from Putana. So as a result, because of the chanting of these mantras, the children became very heavy, and Putana could not carry them any longer, and finally Radharani was dropped first into the Yamuna and landed in a lotus flower, and later on was found there. Chandravani landed somewhere else, a little further away. Anyway, so in this way, it is described how Radharani appears in the world. And before she appears, her associates also appear. Of course, the appearance of Srimati Radharani is only external, because actually she's eternal. And the same way Lalita is eternal, and is eternally the servant of Srimati Radharani, her immediate servant. Now, in the past times, of Radha and Krishna, it is described that Krishna is unreliable. Because one can never take Krishna's mercy for granted. There is no such thing as that one can ever at one point say, now I have Krishna completely under my control. Although that is what the devotees think. Even Radharani is thinking like that. Now I have Krishna under my control. I have purchased him. But then Krishna is independent. So, therefore, Krishna is showing that. And therefore, Krishna is showing interest also in other devotees. And sometimes appears to be unfaithful to Srimati Radharani. So Lalita takes a special role in that. And her role is to chastise Krishna. Her role is to simply put him in his place. And she's expert. She has a sharp tongue. Oh. In front of Lalita, what can Krishna say? And when Lalita is very strong, she'll tell Krishna to go. Sometimes Srimati Radharani goes in a state of man, a state of anger, because of Krishna's apparently disloyal behavior. And as a result of being in this state of man, this state of anger, she doesn't want to meet Krishna. And she expresses this feeling from, no, I do not want to see you. No. Then it's Lalita who amplifies that. And amplifies it to a point where it's even stronger. And when actually Radharani wants to already meet Krishna again, then Lalita is the one who says, no, 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 no way. No, 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 no. This debauchee, we will not let him near you. No way. No, the way he behaves with you. No question. So in this way, and then sometimes Rupa Manjari, who is the assistant of Lalita, then goes to Lalita and mentions that actually she wants to meet Krishna. Oh, 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 well, oh, then it's all right. But without the permission of Lalita, it is not possible for Srimati Radharani to meet Krishna. Lalita must give permission. So Lalita is in that way taking the role of a senior. Now one book where Lalita plays a major role is the Hansadutta, which is a book of Rupa Goswami. I like the book. The Hansadutta refers to the swan messenger. You see, Radharani was experiencing great separation after Krishna had left Vrindavan. And that separation was burning like fire, burning like an intense fever. So as a result, it was an emergency situation. When someone has a very high fever, what do? You have to somehow or other bring the fever down. So all the various gopis became involved in bringing down that fever. So what they did, they made a bed of wet lotus flowers, which is very cool. So a bed of wet lotus flowers, and they put Srimati Radharani on top of that to cool her down. Then they were fanning her. They had pots of water and they were dipping lotus flowers with long stems in this water, and then they were fanning her with that to cool her down further. But the heat of the separation was so intense that whatever water they were using to fan, it was just evaporating so fast that they had to all the time go to Yamuna to bring new pots of water. That's how intense the separation was. That's how much it burned in Srimati Radharani. So anyway, Lalita went to the river to bring another pot of Yamuna water, and then she was desperate. See, what are we going to do? How will we be able to deal with this intense, all-devouring, burning separation? She's going to die if it goes on like this. So Lalita was very concerned. When she came to the Yamuna to get water, there was a swan. And when she saw the swan, she thought, this is it. I will send this swan as a messenger to Krishna and to explain the condition of Srimati Radharani so that Krishna will come here immediately. Otherwise she'll die. So then she explained to the swan that the swan should immediately go on this mission to Mathura and meet Krishna there and inform Krishna of the extreme situation, of the urgent need, and that he should come straight away. And then she's seeing no reaction from the swan. The swan was just floating in the water and not showing a sign of really registering what was being said. So then Lalita was thinking, all right, I should maybe drive the point a little closer to home. What I'll do is I'll compare it to the swan's own situation. So she said, you know, my dear swan, you also have a mate, right? Isn't it? And then, you know, when you're separated from your mate, you also feel great eagerness to be reunited. So therefore it's important that you go. In this way she was trying to impress the importance of the matter. Then she continued and she began to describe. She said to the swan, you know, you should go to Mathura and follow the path that Krishna went along the Yamuna. So now, Lalita in this particular pastime is acting as an instructor. She's acting as a guru. She's acting as a spiritual teacher. And she's basically giving the instruction, my dear swan, my dear conditioned soul, my dear swans, you should go the path that Krishna went. Because that path, through that path you will reach your final destination. So that is very true. If we follow the path that Krishna went, and we follow all the activities of Krishna along the way, then we will attain the ultimate destination. As simple as that. All we need to do is follow Krishna. So Krishna consciousness is not very complicated. Lalita made it very simple. You simply follow the path that Krishna went, and Krishna consciousness will be the result. And with it, we will be attracted to Krishna, and with it, we will be less and less attracted to other things. They'll become empty. They'll become meaningless. Material things will become smaller. But, so Lalita, as she was speaking about the path that Krishna went, she herself became quite ecstatic, remembering how Krishna went. And she said there is Akshayvat. And in Akshayvat, there is a famous tree which is related to a pastime of Lord Vishnu. In that place, Lord Vishnu manifested himself. So you should stop there as you're on the way. You should remember Krishna. And then nearby to there is a cottage which was used for for the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, you must certainly see that cottage. No. Don't see that cottage. Because when you see that cottage, you will not go any further. No. But how can I deny you seeing that cottage? No, you must see it. But then continue on your journey to Mathura. Then she was thinking, well, maybe what I was preaching to this swan was a little high for the swan. After all, this swan is only a conditioned swan and not so advanced yet, only a new devotee. So maybe I got carried away in my own ecstasy and spoke of matters that were really a little too high. It may not be enough to inspire this one to go, because it's still sitting here. It still didn't go. All right, what else can you? My dear swan, in Mathura, on the roof of Krishna's palace, there you will find a life-size crystal swan. That's something. Life-size crystal. Imagine you would find somewhere a life-size statue of yourself made of crystal. I'd like to see that. That's pretty amazing. So, in this way she tried to entice the swan. Because when the spiritual master is guiding the neophyte devotee, the spiritual master can not only inspire the new disciple with transcendental knowledge. Sometimes some other incentive is also there. Just like Prabhupada would inspire competition in book distribution. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 1, number 2, number 1, number 1. Yes, competition. Because we are not sufficiently motivated to distribute the most books just to please Krishna. We need some help of a material competition spirit. Then we can do, okay, I want to be number 1. Of course, that can be transcendental. Number 1 for Krishna. So in this way, Lalita is acting as an expert spiritual master. She is very expertly leading the swan along on the transcendental path. And in this way, we can learn how the spiritual master is guiding us along the path, sometimes giving deep philosophy, sometimes giving a material incentive, sometimes attracting us, like Prabhupada would cook, right? And people would say, oh, that he was an amazing cook, that he could really cook. Like Dr. Misra, was like when Prabhupada's early days, he got some support from Dr. Misra, who was an impersonalist preacher from India. But Dr. Misra used to say, his cooking saved my life. And it did, actually. Dr. Misra was simply thinking that the cooking saved his life because it was such nice Indian cooking, which he was missing too much in New York. But of course, we understand that it wasn't just Indian cooking. We understand that it was Krishna Prasadam, and that therefore it really saved his life. Because where would his impersonalist philosophy have brought him if he was not saved by Prasadam? So by taking that prasadam from Prabhupada's hand, indeed, his life was saved. So, in this way, knowingly or unknowingly, the spiritual master makes arrangements to save the life of the conditioned souls. Srimati Lalita Devi, in this way, is a spiritual authority. She's also the head of Srimati Radharani's own group of devotees. Chandravali has a group, Pali has a group, different devotees, they have a group. Tara has a group, Sham has a group, and Lalita is the leader of Srimati Radharani's group, known as the Yukteswari. Yukta is a group and Yukteswari is the leader of a group. So in this way, there also, Lalita is in the role of an authority. In Vrindavan, we are seeing the birthplace or the appearance place of Lalita Devi. It is known as Unchagan because it is high, and there's a hill there. And from when one goes on the hill, there are two hills actually. One hill there is a temple dedicated to Lalita Devi with the deities of Lalita Vihari, and then the other hill is called Parvatsaki. And this Parvatsaki is the hill. If we go on that hill, then we have a view of Srimati Radharani's birthplace. So in this way, the focus of Lalita Devi is only Srimati Radharani. Her only interest is the happiness of Srimati Radharani. She only cares about Srimati Radharani. We are then seeing there that in this place, in this birthplace, there is a kunj, and it is known as Deha Kunj. It is said that there the gopis offered everything to Krishna in full surrender. And as they gave everything, including their bodies and everything to Krishna, Krishna gave them in return a benediction that he would always be in their mind. So it's very Deha Kunj. So one can bathe in Deha Kunj so that Krishna will be always in our mind. So whenever you go to Unchagan, don't be shy, just Deha Kunj, because we need Krishna always in our mind. It will certainly help. Yes. We want that blessing. Furthermore, in that village, on the Parvatsaki, there is a place where once Lalita assembled and was stopping Krishna. And you, debauchee, you degraded person, right? How dare you come here? How dare you come? Go, go. And she was telling Krishna to leave. Meanwhile, the other gopis, they tied the cloth of Krishna and Lalita together, and they started to chant the marriage mantras. So that's known as the place where Lalita got married to Krishna, which then she had to explain to Radharani, which was complicated. I didn't really want to, I mean, you know, yeah, sure, yeah, no, they just did it. It's hard to explain such a situation. So, there we see some pastimes of Lalita Devi. So Lalita is always there in assisting Srimati Radharani. When Srimati Radharani is established as the queen of Vrindavan, then Lalita is immediately the prime minister. Oh yes. And somehow or other, as all this thing is going on, Krishna, for once, accepted and was not challenging the position of Srimati Radharani and was submitting himself before Srimati Radharani, before the Queen. But then what happened was that Krishna's flute was stolen. Well, you know, what a thing. If there is a serious theft of something valuable, naturally you call the police. At that time, you wouldn't call the police, but you would report it to the king. So, or the queen. So yes, indeed, Krishna reported the theft to the queen. And somehow or other, it was stolen. And, yes, there only had been a limited number of people. And, you know, therefore Krishna was saying it has to be one of these people. So, in the end, they searched everyone and never found the flute. Except, of course, the Prime Minister. But then, you know, then Krishna pointed out that there was something sticking out of the cloth that looked suspicious. And yes, the Prime Minister herself had the flute hidden under her cloth. Just see. So in this way, Krishna was getting her back for chastising him on various occasions. Because he had that particular relationship with Krishna of chastising him. And Lalita is, of course, coming back in the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Swarup Damodar Goswami, who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's personal secretary. And as such, and Swarup Damodar is one of the most mysterious personalities in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, because mostly he's in the background, and yet he's very powerful, yet he is a great authority, and everyone accepts his authority, and he's extremely learned, and but he's not controlling from the front, he's controlling from the back. It's quite interesting. So in this way, we see that also where there's Krishna, when Krishna was asked to appear in this world, in the Garga Samhita, the Garga Samhita is a book written by Garga Muni, who was the priest of Vasudeva, and in the Digdarshani Tika, which is the commentary on the 10th canto of Sanatana Goswami, on the real Bhagavatamrita, sorry, Sanatana Goswami. There it is mentioned that this Garga Samhita is a bona fide scripture that reveals more intimate, hidden details about Krishna's pastimes. So there's an interesting reference there, where it describes that Bhumi came in the form of a cow, the earth, before Krishna, to explain about all the sinful military phalanxes on the earth and all these things. And then the demigods went all with Bhumi to Lord Vishnu. Then Lord Vishnu did not just say, and soon I will appear, but Lord Vishnu also told them, you have to go to Goloka and ask Krishna to appear. And then the Lord Vishnu, showed a pathway. When Vamanadev took his steps and cover the distance of the universe. He cracked this shell of the universe, and there's a hole in the universe. And then Lord Vishnu showed a channel there. And then all the demigods went by boat. And they came on the other side, and they went to Goloka. And when they went to Goloka, they went to Krishna. And they asked Krishna to appear in the material world. And then Krishna said, I'm not going, I can't go to the material world without Radharani. Oh no. And then Radharani said, no, I cannot go because Govardhan is not there. Then Krishna said, no, Govardhan will also go. Right? And so, in this way, everyone had to go. Lalita also. Right? Then Radharani went, then Lalita also went. And in this way, they all appeared in the material world, in Vrindavan. So, in this way, she is the eternal companion of Srimati Radharani, the principal Saki of the Astasakis, of the 8 Sakis that are with Radha and Krishna, or with Radha Madhava. And then it is said that these Sakis, they are like extensions of Srimati Radharani. So in one sense, we can understand that Lalita is an extension of Srimati Radharani. It said all the different 8 gopis, the 8 principal gopis, they are like expansions of Srimati Radharani that are reflecting a different mood of Srimati Radharani. So Lalita is reflecting this fiery left-wing mood, the rebellious mood, the mood that stands up against Krishna and chastises him. So in this way, we appreciate Srimati Lalita Devi for her transcendental qualities. It's said that she has in the Radha Kanana Deepika, that she has a yellowish complexion, and that she wears a peacock feather dress. It's not bad. Peacock feather dress. And of course, the complexion, when you hear yellowish complexion, you might think, is she Chinese? But no, not like that, right? Not like Chinese yellowish, but rather very effulgent. In the spiritual world, there are many more colors. The bodies have many more colors than in this world. There are blue bodies, there are green bodies, there are yellow bodies, reddish bodies, also blackies and white and all kinds of varieties of colors, so more than in this world. But each of them are very effulgent, not dull like the colors here. We don't have much effulgence now. Little, but not so much. But they're, oh yes, they're very effulgent. So in this way, Lalita is always close with Srimati Radharani, and always protecting her at any time. Even when at one point Radharani marries and moves into the house of her in-laws, Lalita is still there. She's still always with her. And that continues. And that just continues all throughout the pastimes. So in this way, on this Lalita Shasti, we are approaching Lalita Devi. We're approaching Lalita Devi and to give us her blessings, and to somehow or other take us to Srimati Radharani. Without her, how can we go? We need Lalita Devi, her blessings. Just like when Raghunath Das wanted to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he first needed to get the blessings of Nityananda. And only after the blessings of Nityananda could he approach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, if we want to approach, when one wanted to approach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one would go through his representative. Like many had to first go to Swarup Damodar, the secretary, and then they could see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we are going to Lalita Devi today to take us to Srimati Radharani's lotus feet, so that we can actually approach her on Janmashtami. We need all the blessings we can. Yesterday we heard that there is a gap between our state of consciousness and the state of pure consciousness of Srimati Radharani, and how can we bridge that gap? But we cannot bridge that gap, but blessings can bring us closer. And in this way, we are today praying to Lalita Devi to give us shelter at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Any questions or comments? Finish. 6 o'clock. Another 1 minute at 6 o'clock. Huh? Yeah, I'm supposed to stop at 6. So. Okay.
Okay, someone has to repeat it because I couldn't hear everything. Did you hear? Did you hear it? So he brings the mic. I'm so sorry.
The birds outside and...
I'm just wondering how to serve Lalita Devi. Is it the same? Is it through serving the Guru that we serve her to be able to serve Srimati Radharani?
Yes, yes. Yes. Just as the Guru is always thinking how to satisfy Krishna and Krishna's representatives. So in the same way, Srimati Lalita Devi is always thinking how to support Radharani in serving Krishna. The group of Srimati Radharani is particularly focused on Radharani and not on Krishna. So Lalita Devi is always thinking of Radharani, not always thinking of Krishna. She's always thinking of how can I help Radharani to please Krishna. That is her focus. So that's the same move. So in our case, the spiritual masters are before us. So we help the spiritual masters, and they will, in that way, we become an assistant of Radharani. We're followers. See, Lalita's assistant is Rupa Manjari. Rupa Manjari is Rupa Goswami. We are followers of Rupa Goswami. So we are all assisting Lalita to please Srimati Radharani, so that, or to help Srimati Radharani so she can please Krishna. So yes, we serve Lalita through serving the Vaishnavas, through serving the spiritual master, by assisting them humbly, so that they can please their superiors, who can ultimately please Srimati Radharani, who can please Krishna. And in this way we're looking at Radha and Krishna on the altar, looking how Radharani is pleasing Krishna. And it's very nice to see this outfit, because I've never seen an outfit like this before, where on the cloth of Srimati Radharani, Krishna is there. I mean, that's something unique. Something very unique. I have not seen in all these years in Krishna consciousness that Krishna is there on the clothes of Srimati Radharani. That's a very unique outfit, and I think it's befitting. It's befitting. So I like it. It is Very nice. Whoever thought of that? Very nice. Srimati Lalita Devi ki jai. Sri Lalita Shasti Mahamahotsav ki jai. Sri Radhastami Mahamahotsav ki jai.